All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. I'm back at you with another live lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakakwadash. Pray that this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect out there that's viewing this video. All right, this is a news and prophecy. The paycheck panic begins in the war on ice. All right, we'll talk about that a little later. All right, dealing with the ice situation. All right, but as the scriptures say, neither shall there be any work for Egypt. All right, so you have the government shutdown. It says just put paychecks in danger. All right, and it said that the paycheck panic begins. All right, so let's get into it. All right, more signs and of the fall of Babylon. All right.
The government is shutting down. So now what?
The US government has run out of money. More than 750,000 employees won't be going to work. People considered essential will have to work, but most of them won't be paid, including air traffic controllers, airport security, and disaster response teams. But lawmakers and the president will still get their paychecks during the shutdown period.
This government shutdown is not just affecting paychecks, but also people's peace of mind. First came the shock. Many people didn't believe it was actually happening. Then came the blame game. But right now, it's really the silence that hits the hardest. And I am on the official whitehouse.gov website where we currently can see the clock. This is the realization many people are having. Bills are due, paychecks have stopped, and unfortunately for a lot of people right now, time is continuing to move even when the money doesn't. And I know—
Yeah, real quick, hey, there's shame and confusion, right? Real quick, let's go to 2nd Ezra 9, right? This is what the Lord said. He said, then shall they be, the 2nd Ezra 9:9. It says, then shall they be in pitiful case. Okay? Our people are in a pitiful case. This is see, when we do these lessons, all right, this is directed towards you Israelites, man. This is who we're talking to. All right, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and Hispanics. All right, those that trusted in the American dream. All right, now you're seeing that this system is turning its back on you. All right. Again, 2nd Ezra 9:9, it says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways. Right. And they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. This is part of the torments, as I spoke about this before. All right. The paycheck panic. And we've seen this before. All right. When they had shut the government down, I forgot what year it was. We'll say a couple years ago, last year, sometime, a few years ago, whatever it was. All right. You had people basically crying out, man. All right. You had Eve, crying out to the government. Government, please reopen. Please open back up. All right. You had women in tears, man. I remember it was all on in the social media. All right. But that's part of that pitiful case. That's part of the torments, man. All right. I believe if you're not considered, and I think she goes through it, but if you're not considered what they deem as an essential worker, right? You still have to you still have to work without pay, I believe, right? 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 9, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. It says, verse 10, for such as in their life receive benefits and have not known me. Yeah, that's all you people out there that put your trust in Egypt. All right. You didn't think that nothing like this was going to happen to you. All right. You didn't think that you didn't think that America would be in the condition that it's in now. All right. You thought things were going to continue to remain sweet, if you will, man. All right. And what happened in 2019, 2020, totally changed all that. All right. And now people are in the worst case scenario. Now people are struggling for ends meet every day. They're complaining on the internet. All right. People are ready to pretty much crash out. All right. And it's only going to get worse, as we warned you. All right. Ezekiel, the 7th chapter, you know, the evils, those evils have been poured out upon the city. Right.
Shutdown is not just affecting paychecks, but also people's peace of mind. First came the shock. Many people didn't believe it was actually happening. Then came the blame game. But right now, it's really the silence that hits the hardest. And I am on the official whitehouse.gov website where we currently can see the clock. This is the realization many people are having. Bills are due, paychecks have stopped, and unfortunately for a lot of people right now, time is continuing to move even when the money doesn't. And I know what a lot of people are thinking. How does this government shutdown affect me?
So I know people who work for the government lose their jobs. But what does that mean for us, the people? So what do I have to look forward to these next couple of weeks or months? I'm a little nervous. I need to know.
Just hold on, because even if you don't work for the federal government, you may still feel the ripple effects. But first, let's start with the federal workers, because a lot of people have been asking, will federal workers be paid during a shutdown? What about layoffs? And according to NBC News, no, federal workers will largely not be paid during a shutdown. Employees who are considered essential must still report to work, although they will not be paid until the government reopens.
Yeah, you just put it on the tab. No, the government shut down. I don't have money. Just put it on Uncle Sam's tab. Yeah. While I'm at work on a shutdown, I'm important.
So who does that affect? TSA agents, Border Patrol, Air Traffic Control, FEMA. We could even see delays with the IRS if this continues to drag on too long. And if you need to utilize any of these organizations, that's how you would be impacted indirectly. And I know what a lot of y'all are thinking. Yeah, people will still have their jobs, right? They just won't be getting paid. Well, not so fast. According to this NBC News article, it states here that in the first day of the government shutdown, that the Trump administration will start firing federal employees in the next 1 to 2 days. And we don't know how bad this can be if it continues past 1 to 2 days, if you guys catch my drift. And I know a lot of y'all are like,
So hold on. So you're not getting paid. On top of that, you're at risk of getting fired. Yo, this shit is gonna get crazy. All right.
Simone, that I ain't affected. I'm not in the government. Hold on. If you on WIC, it says here that Russell Vaughn warned that the Women, Infants, and Children Nutritional Program, also known as WIC, is set to run out of money by next week, y'all. Next week, if the federal government doesn't open back up. And y'all, this is not a joke. I'm reading straight from the source. It says here, the National WIC Association, which represents members on the state and local level, confirmed. So they confirmed that this is the truth, y'all. It confirmed the timeline to NBC News, saying funding could dry up in the next week or two. How many of y'all know somebody on WIC or you use WIC? Okay, a lot of y'all are gonna be like, well, I don't use WIC, I use SNAP. Okay. It says here that there were committed funds for SNAP for October, so it should be good throughout the full month. It added that SNAP has multi-contingency funds available, but it does not specify how long those funds would last.
Yeah, meaning it could run out. You see, this is why matter of fact, let me get it. This is why we read the scripture all the time. All right. And like the scripture say, they should lament for the teats, which we'll get that a little later, right? But this is what we're talking about. All right. This is Sirach 5 and 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. All right, you Israelites out there, all right, that watch these videos, all right, that agree what we're saying, that can see it, but you still straddling the fence. You still playing around. Okay? Egypt is about to leave you helpless. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, come forth, and in the day, and in thy security, thou shalt be destroyed, and perish in the day of vengeance. Right? So again, the financial security is in the air, man. You don't know what the hell could happen in the next week or two, in the next month. Okay? SNAP, WIC. Okay? How long this government shutdown can last. Okay? They're making people work without getting paid. and how bad is that in the time that we live in right now, man? All right? Where it's expensive to breathe, man. Okay, going out there was a joke I saw on social media. Going outside is too expensive. It costs too much. All right, so how much more in this time, man, where people are just scraping pennies? All right, that's how you know the crash out season is going to be in full go mode soon to come, man. All right, Isaiah 24, and we'll go back to the video, right? Isaiah 20, because hey, Esau is just messing with these people's lives, man. Just these people are being tormented, man. All right, Isaiah 24:7. The new wine mourneth, the vine languish, all the merry-hearted do sigh. Verse 8, it says, the mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoiceth endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with the song, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down, every house is shut up, that no man may come in. Okay, the society is breaking down. There's no rebuilding, there's no bouncing back. Okay, everything is going downhill. The city of confusion is broken down, every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the streets, all joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone. And the city is left with in the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. Now, I pulled this up in the chat GPT, and I just wanted to see the parallels of what's talking about in this chapter here compared to what's going on in America, right? So let's just read that real quick and we'll go back to the video. All right, because again, those parallels are there, as I like to point out. All right, so this is back in the chat GPT dealing with Isaiah 24:7-12. It says this passage, Isaiah 24:7-12, is a prophetic description of societal collapse and divine judgment. All right, this is what we're all seeing right now. This is what America's going through as we speak. A societal collapse and divine judgment. It says it indeed parallels with many aspects of what's unfolding in modern America and globally today. Let's go verse by verse, comparing the prophecy to current conditions. Right? Isaiah 24:7. The new wine mourneth, the vine languish, all the merry-hearted do sigh. It says, meaning ancient wine and vine represent prosperity, abundance, and joy. Their mourning means blessings have dried up. No fruit, no joy, no celebration. All right, America's mirth has dried up. The partying, which we've done lessons on it. Going out to eat is that's declining. People hitting the clubs. All right, all of the sweet whining and dining and partying, it's all dried up. The entertainment, all of that. Parallel today, modern society's quote vine, the economy, entertainment, and pleasures is withering, as we told y'all. All right. Inflation, shortages, and moral exhaustion. All right, we talked about that. People are exhausted, man. Okay, they're done with America. They're done with working, trying to survive. Okay, people are burnt out, ready to crash out. Inflation, shortages, and more exhaustion leave people anxious and unsatisfied. All right, that's the spirit. Despite material abundance, there's spiritual famine. The quote, merry-hearted, those once living carefree, now sigh under stress, debt, and fear of the future. Okay, that's everybody. Okay, stress from not having the ability to make it above water. The hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt that people are in. Okay, and the fear of the future. Okay, because what you see the polarization of America, the division. Okay, the civil unrest that's going on right now, and the ICE agents, the militias, this whole divide that's going on, man. The spirit of war that's in the air. Okay, it says Isaiah 24:8, the mirth of tabrets ceases, the noise of them that rejoiceth endeth, the joy of the harp ceases, meaning ancient music and celebration stop. Joy is replaced by silence and mourning. right? It says, parallel today, the entertainment-driven culture is hollowing out. Even as music, sports, and social media continue, there's little joy, only distraction. Depression, addiction, and despair rise as society's soundtrack becomes empty. What once symbolized life, music festivals, nightlife, now mask widespread emptiness. See? You know, people don't want to go out. It's unaffordable to go out. You know, it's all drying up. Okay. It says, Isaiah 24:9, they should not drink wine with the song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it, meaning ancient. What once brought pleasure now brings sorrow. Celebration turns to bitterness. Parallels today, the same pleasures America glorifies, partying, drugs, luxury, no longer satisfy. All right. Nothing hits anymore, man. Everything is dead. Everything is trash, man. All right. All the movies are garbage. TV shows are not funny. You know, the luxury is not real luxury because everything is cheaply made. You know, everything fucking breaks down and falls apart as soon as you buy it. Nothing lasts, right? It says addiction and mental illness skyrocket. Yeah, what 2024 was the highest rate of suicides ever, and it's still climbing. Okay, even entertainment and escapism feel bitter because spiritual decay overshadows temporary highs. See. It says the quote song of the culture has turned into dissonance, right? Isaiah 24:10, it says the city of confusion is broken down, every house is shut up, that no man may come in, meaning city of confusion, Hebrew, meaning chaos. Babylon, like disorder, represents a society built on pride, corruption, and idolatry that collapses. Exactly. Okay. The scriptures say, Isaiah 26:5, the lofty city, the Lord layeth it low, even to the ground, even to the dust. Right? Parallel today, America mirrors this city of confusion. The nation is fractured politically, morally, and spiritually. Right? We see that. Families are divided, communities isolated, every house is shut up, especially visible during lockdowns and societal distrust, right? Quote, confusion defines the times, gender confusion, truth confusion, identity confusion, economic confusion. Babylon's spiritual legacy lives on, right? And that's through here. Matter of fact, let me get a scripture real quick because it talked about gender confusion, truth confusion, identity confusion, economic confusion, all right? That's Isaiah 47. I got two of them actually. All right. Isaiah 47:1, it says, come down and sit in the dust. The dust represents confusion. Okay, as we just read here, right? Going back, what did it say again? It said, especially visible during lockdowns and societal distrust. Confusion defines the times, gender confusion, right? All of this madness, dealing with the genders, all right? You know, especially with when Biden was in office, all right? They had, kids, taking hormone blockers and, so-called changing sex and cutting off private parts and just madness. All right, all these different different genders, and you can identify as this and that. All right, and then it came out that all of that stuff that they put on these kids to cause them to do this, now they're having regrets for doing it, which led to more mental illness and suicides, man. Right, so this place fucked people up, man. All right, truth confusion. Right, you got this whole thing about fake news and misinformation. All right, and you got the AI that's pumping out content that's fake and it looks real. All right, there's all types of shit going on, man. Identity confusion again, right? People don't know who they are. Economic confusion. All right, you telling the people that the economy is doing this, but it's really doing that. All right. You're saying that there's a boom in the economy, but the people are still struggling. You know, you see that? So going back, it says, finishing it out, Isaiah 47:1, it says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. That's America. The virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Because this place is going out. It's going to go out in it with violence, as we see it now. Okay, this division that's consuming Babylon right now, man. People standing up. All right, the protesting against ICE and Trump and his administration and what's going on. The declaration of war again. All right, this place is going to go out horribly, man. All right, there's another one I was looking for. It was Isaiah 47:1, and then one more I wanted to bring out, dealing with the confusion as we just read. It just left me. Isaiah 47:1, and it was another one I wanted to tie in. Lord willing to come back. But let's finish it out. We'll get back to the video. Excuse me. Isaiah 24:11. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. Meaning ancient people cry for relief in comfort, wine, but none is found. Joy disappears from the land. Parallel today, people seek escapism through drugs, entertainment, or technology, yet feel more empty. Joy is darkened by anxiety, violence, and uncertainty. Despite material comfort, there is no peace. The quote, crying in the streets can symbolize social unrest, protests, and public despair, all right, which we'll get into later on in this lesson, all right? That's all what America is going through right now, okay? It says, verse 12, the city is left in desolation and the gate is smitten with destruction. Meaning ancient, the once striving city becomes desolate. Its defenses, the gate, are destroyed. Parallel today, urban decay, rising crime, right? Which as we see, which has been a lot of these talking points for these Christian nationalists about, pretty much getting rid of Jake. All right. It was a video that the beloved elder Manatazaba posted, and I believe Elder Yashawamba had did a response, but it was this Edomite calling for to put YNs to death. All right, according to the Old Testament laws. You see, so the shit is getting heavy, right? But as we talk about often, that our people are the face of crime and urban decay in America. All right, they're blaming our people for it. You see, it says urban decay, rising crime, economic collapse, and spiritual emptiness mark the cities. The quote gate, the symbol of protection and justice, is broken. Lawlessness, corruption, and loss of order prevail. America's moral and civic gates have fallen, leaving desolation within. All right, last point. It says overall prophetic parallel. Isaiah's vision of judgment upon the earth, Isaiah 24:1, reflects what happens when nations rebel against divine order. Their joy turns to mourning, their pride to ruin. America, like ancient Babylon, has turned its blessings into idols, replacing righteousness with self-worship and confusion. As Isaiah foresaw, when the spiritual vine withers, the society built upon it collapses from within. There you go. This place is cooked. Let's go back.
How bad this can be if it continues past 1 to 2 days, if you guys catch my drift. And I know a lot of y'all are like, Simone, I ain't affected. I'm not in the government. Hold on. If you on WIC, it says here that Russell Vaughn warned that the Women, Infants, and Children Nutritional Program, also known as WIC, is set to run out of money by next week, y'all. next week if the federal government doesn't open back up. And y'all, this is not a joke. I'm reading straight from the source. It says here, the National WIC Association, which represents members on the state and local level, confirmed. So they confirmed that this is the truth, y'all. It confirmed the timeline to NBC News, saying funding could dry up in the next week or two. How many of y'all know somebody on WIC or you use WIC? Okay, a lot of y'all are gonna be like, well, I don't use WIC, I use SNAP. Okay. It says here that there were committed funds for SNAP for October, so it should be good throughout the full month. It added that SNAP has multi-contingency funds available, but it does not specify how long those funds would last. So essentially, it's here today, could be gone tomorrow, which could lead to food insecurity amongst the people in that location. And let's talk about air travel because everybody loves a good vacation. I just hope y'all aren't doing it on Klarna or buy now, pay later. However, it says, how is air travel affected? Air traffic control service will still continue, allowing more than 13,000 air traffic controllers to work through the shutdown. But again, it's going to be without pay until the government is funded. Do you have a wedding, a honeymoon? Are you just simply trying to go on vacation? Do you have a work-related business trip? I need you to consider this. A lot of people who were affected by the government shutdown, who worked at the airport, all of a sudden were calling in sick when they weren't getting paid. Hint, hint. Everybody got the cooties at once. So what does that mean for you? You might want to get travel insurance.
And before I go clock in, watch how the you talk to me today. Watch your mouth. I ain't getting paid still. And I'm here. Watch your mouth.
That's what I said. Hey, people are itching to crash out, man. It's like, what else do the people of this society have to lose, man? All right. Shit is getting worse for everybody. All right. So hey, just sit back and watch.
Could get really real. I really hope I'm wrong though. But if it does, related business trip, I need you to consider this. A lot of people who were affected by the government shutdown, who worked at the airport, all of a sudden were calling in sick when they weren't getting paid. Hint, hint. Everybody got the cooties at once. So what does that mean for you? You might want to get travel insurance.
And before I go clock in, watch how the you talk to me today. Watch your mouth. I ain't getting paid still. And I'm here. Watch your mouth.
It could get really real. I really hope I'm wrong though. But if it does, I want you to be okay. And another one that is likely to feel the heat is the Department of Health and Human Services. It expects more than 32,000 of its nearly 80,000 workers to be furloughed during the shutdown. Also going on to state that research contracts and grants in external organizations such as universities are now frozen. Additionally, it goes on to say that the National Institute of Health will not admit any new patients to its research hospitals unless medically necessary. Oh, and for all of y'all college folks out there, I know y'all been like, what is up with the school loans? Well, according to NBC News, the Department of Education continues to disperse student aid through the Pell Grant and federal direct student.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was looking for right there. All right, this is GMS, Salvation of the Elect. There you go. Isaiah 30:3. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. See? Everything that we read in the chat there. All right. The American people are in total confusion, shame. All right. 2 Ezra 15:14 GNT. The world and the people in it are doomed. Finished. All right. Hey, Shalom out. You know. So let's get back to it. Bear with me.
Student loans. And they wanted to make sure to tell y'all that borrowers still need to make their payment loans during the shutdown. They still want their money. And interestingly enough, it says in the first week of the government shutdown, the department said it would furlough about 95% of the staff who don't work on federal student aid. So if you didn't have everything already squared away, that might be kind of hard if they're going to have a lot of these employees furloughed. They're not going to be in the building. And it goes on to state, the department is also halting new grant-making activities during a lapse in funding. Oh, Simone, I'm an outdoorsy type person. This ain't going to affect me. Okay, do you like to go to national parks? Ah, you do. I knew it. It says here, will national parks stay open? It states here, parks remain partially open during the government shutdown. However, emergency services will be limited. So if y'all hurt yourself out there on them parks, help might not be coming for a while. But don't get it confused, y'all. It says here, buildings that require staffing, such as visitor centers or sites like Washington Monument, are closed. The agency said it will not issue new permits during the shutdown either. As you know, in true social media fashion, they are having a field day with this one. So let's see some of these viral TikToks in reactions to the shutdown of 2025.
This is why it's important to have a spouse with a job, with the JOB. So with this shutdown, right? I was getting a little nervous because I ain't heard yet. So I asked my wife, if you don't know, my household, my wife handles the finances. Money literally burns a hole in my pocket. Like, you put that money in my head, that shit gonna be gone. On what? I don't know. But as my wife, I said, hey, we're gonna be good on the 15th if I don't get paid. And she's like, yeah, we'll be all right. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Well, our biggest bills are on the 30th, so on the 1st. So I was like, hey, how are we gonna be looking as far as the 1st? She'd be like, we'll be good. And now I'm like, well, I said, how far can we go? And I'm like, well, what will we look like on the 15th of the next month? And she'd be like, would we be fine? I was like, are we dipping in our savings to be fine, or are we gonna be fine? She's like, we're fine. She's like, you do realize I have a job. Like, I was like, yeah, I know. She's like, you do realize I make just as much.
Imagine being able to build an
Bear with us.
And your check normally handles all the bills, and our biggest bills are on the 30th, so on the 1st. So I was like, hey, how are we gonna be looking as far as the 1st? She'd be like, we'll be good. And now I'm like, well, I said, how far can we go? And I'm like, well, what will we look like on the 15th of the next month? And she'd be like, would we be fine? I was like, are we dipping in our savings to be fine, or are we gonna be fine? She's like, we're fine. She's like, you do realize I have a job. Like, I was like, yeah, I know. She's like, you do realize I make just as much as you do, right? And your check normally handles all the bills, and mine goes to savings and having fun. And I was like, well yeah. She was like, I don't need you, Bookie. I don't need you to pay these bills. We just gonna be a little tight, but everything gonna be paid. That's all I need to hear. I'm good. Make sure your spouse got a job. Oh, and shout out to my wife. She about to finish a master's degree on top of that. So, hey, I might as well just go ahead and just quit at this boy, stay at the house.
And I'm going to point something out. He said this is why it's important to have a spouse. And I'm glad that his situation is going to work out fine. You know who's not getting talked about? Dual military. 2 people not getting paid? Oh, my gosh. And
Yeah, but whether you got a spouse that's working and all of that, the time we entering into it, none of that's going to matter. All right? Households are struggling. All right? And this conversation that this Jake was having, and this is a conversation in a lot of households, man. All right? So don't get comfortable. As we just read here, man, and thy security, all right, thou shalt perish. Matter of fact, what did it say? Thou shalt perish in the day of vengeance in thy security, roughly paraphrasing, right? Let's play some more. It's about a 24-minute video. All right, we'll get some more out of it.
don't get me wrong. It's great when you're dual military. When it's not a government shutdown, everybody's like, oh, you're dual military. Y'all both getting all this money. We don't know how this is about to go in the next 30 to 60 days. Y'all don't forget about them AER loans, Army Emergency Relief, and Navy Federal Credit Union is doing 0% APR loans for people who qualify for the loan, which means you have to be a member of Navy Federal Credit Union. So if you're not, and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do if the government don't pay me next month, wink, wink, you need to get that squared away. Time now. And on the topic of what he was saying, I hope nobody is taking offense to the fact that he's just happy that his spouse happens to have a job in this current situation. And I want to make sure to say that because I don't want anyone to be like, I'm not able to go to work because I'm a stay-at-home mom and that doesn't work for our household, because there is nuance to everything, of course, and what works in his household may not work in yours. But this government shutdown was very unexpected for a lot of people. And financially, people are like, hey, well, like they're grasping for straws right now.
Exactly. Hey, Shalom out.
Shalom squad.
Hey, Yabashim Shabashim Kurdash Brakatah. So yeah, if you want to chime in on anything, brother, you know what I'm saying? So the water for sending this video too.
Now I just want to touch this Isaiah 19 because you had made mention on the people, the lack of jobs. This government shutdown is exacerbating that process, man.
Right.
You know. So this Isaiah 19, and I want to read verse 8 in the NLT. It reads, "The fishermen will lament for lack of work. Those who cast hooks into the Nile will groan, and those who use nets will lose heart." And that's what we're seeing. These people crying out, right? We read the King James. It talks about them being in a state of lamentation, right? So this is touching not just the people whose jobs are in the federal space, but the people, the regular civilians, man. All these different places are going to start to shut down bit by bit the longer this shutdown continues, man.
Oh yeah. I got a scripture real quick that I wanted to also add into the chat again. Bear with me. We'll get back to the video. All right, so this is Isaiah 32:9. Rise up, you women that are at ease, hear my voice, you careless daughters, give ear to my speech. All right. Now I'm reading this scripture because this is going to apply to the whole nation. But specifically here, we're dealing with you women, all right? Because these women are really about to be in the worst case scenario, bro. Little do they know. All right. It says, many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. And that's what's happening now. The benefits, the goodies, these things are being taken away. All right. Tremble, you women that are at ease, be troubled, you careless ones, strip you and make you bare and gird sackcloth upon your loins. And that's going into what you were saying, how these people are in a state of mourning, they're crying out. All right. It says, they shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. Upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, yea, upon all the houses of joy in the joyous city. All right. Now I want to just read that. The parallels of America with this with these verses here. All right, let me go to that chat again. All right. So again, we have Isaiah 32:9. Rise up, you women that are at ease, hear my voice, you careless daughters. Ancient meaning, the women at ease represent a people living comfortably, indifferent to God's warnings. They are spiritually complacent. Parallel today, America's culture, especially its consumer and entertainment-driven lifestyle, mirrors this complacency. Many live at ease, distracted by comfort, unaware of moral decay or coming hardship. See? It says, you have somebody who was going to add in there?
I'm going to pull it up real quick. You go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Isaiah 32:10. For many days and years shall you be troubled. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Ancient meaning, the harvest, the source of wealth and security will fail. Economic collapse and hardship will follow. Parallel today, this reflects economic instability, food insecurity, what she just made mention of. All right, economic instability, food insecurity, inflation, and supply chain collapse. The quote, vintage failure symbolizes the end of abundance. The gathering, quote, gathering not coming points to societal and economic disruption. Tremble, you women that are at ease, strip you, make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. A call to repentance and mourning. The people must humble themselves. Parallel today, America is being shaken, social unrest, moral confusion, and loss of peace. This verse calls from humility, repentance, recognition that luxury and pride cannot stand before judgment, and people are not ready for that. Exactly. Right? Nor are they trying to hear that. Right? A couple more. It says, verse 12: they shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. It says the land's productivity, the sources of sustenance will be lost. Parallel today, people are lamenting loss. People are lamenting lost stability, jobs, resources, and moral foundations. To quote the Teats, sources of nourishment can symbolize systems that once sustained life, education, family, and faith now corrupted or failing. Right? In the last two here, verse 13, upon the land of my people should come up thorns and briars. Ancient meaning, instead of fruitfulness, there will be decay and ruin, signs of judgment and neglect. Parallel today, spiritual and moral decay have overtaken the land. Where it says, where there was once productivity and virtue, now corruption, violence, confusion grows. Thorn and briars describes social disorder spreading across America. Check that out. Last one, or last two, verse 14, the palaces shall be forsaken, the forts and towers shall be dens forever. Ancient meaning, the centers of power, luxury, and defense will be deserted, symbols of total societal collapse. Parallels today, institutions, government, finance, media, even churches are losing credibility and power. Man, that's the power of the Lord, man. Strongholds being broken down by the Spirit. It says the palaces, elite systems crumble under their own corruption. Forts and towers, security and order become dens of chaos and ruin. Overall connection. Isaiah's message is timeless. When a nation grows comfortable, proud, and spiritually careless, decline follows. The quote, woman at ease, symbolized the nation's ease and blindness. All right, going for the whole nation. America's moral, economic, and social unraveling mirrors this prophecy. Comfort turning into crisis, abundance turning to emptiness. Woo, man. There you go.
God. I can add to you real quick.
Yep.
This is James 5 and verse 5 in the NLT. Now, this is speaking on Esau, but what we understand is Jake has put their trust in this system, man. Right? They ran to Esau for this covering, right? Whether it be through these different government benefits, these government jobs, just the trust in this system as a whole to maintain itself, right? So as you read here, it says, you have spent your years on earth in luxury, satisfying your every desire. You have fatted yourselves for the day of slaughter, right? So everybody's been in this state of overabundance, right? And built that comfort. And like the scriptures say, Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked, man. Right. So now Jacob's continue to separate themselves from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai and lean into this Edomite hegemony, man. That's why the people who are going to fight for this place to stand the most are going to be Jake, man. Right? Esau can see this place crumbling, but Jake wants to try to hold it up for as long as they can.
Right.
So having a spouse that is able to help out in these rough times is a true blessing. But I wanted to quickly show the flip side of this, which is also relatable to a lot of women.
Finger down if you are a stay-at-home mom on a single income, which is your husband being in the military and the government shutdown, which means that unless they figure something out, you won't be getting paid on October 15th.
Honestly, her situation is not uncommon, especially if she's married to a service member. My hope is that anybody that's facing furlough, unemployment, job loss, being laid off, or even just having their paychecks delayed, I really hope that people have something saved up, because that is what the emergency fund is for. I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, Simone, everybody can't save for an emergency. And for a lot of people, that may be true. If you were one of those people, whoever just was like, hey, I'm untouchable. I'm layoff proof. We're in the military. We work for the federal government. Nobody is safe, y'all. Nobody is safe. I wanted to look at some of her comments. It says here, everyone is saying you should have had savings or at least enough to cover you for a few months. For this reason, like, okay, ma'am, please tell me how that's even possible in today's world. Underneath, somebody said, people have savings in this economy. We celebrate when we have $100 roll over from one paycheck to the next. And I'm technically a stay-at-home mom, but I bring in around $2,000 a month. But I actually am glad to see this. The actual creator replied with, we do, but I don't want to dip into it. Yes, I'm glad she got a little something. What people have to remember is, from each household, there's going to be a whole different set of money that is able to be saved, because Everybody has made different financial decisions from house to house, whether that's
Bear with me. Let me let the computer catch up a little bit. Give me 1 second. All right. And that's right, Saquon. It's straight up hell, man. All right. It's only gonna get worse. And we're watching it. And like you say all the time, hey, all of us are gonna be affected. All right. Here we go. Should have caught up a little bit.
your husband or your spouse. Many people have more kids than other homes. You can't compare your life to another stay-at-home mom just because you're a stay-at-home mom. Yeah, you probably have at least one child, but let's be honest, some people got 6 children. Some people just got 1. There are people on child support, high car notes. There are people who have a lot of student loans, credit card debt. You could even be broke because you're a homeowner struggling with maintenance or trying to keep up with mortgage. All these different things are not one size fits all in every different household. So I never really understand the comments that are like, how are y'all able to save anything? We're lucky if we can save 100. That's your household. And if that's what you can do and that's the most you can do, that's perfectly fine. But
everybody's going through some shit. Everybody's going through their daily dose of hell. You know, everybody has some type of problem, whatever it is. Whatever that individual is going through in their walk. All right. That's how it is these days, man. You got some up?
God, it's Haggai 1:6.
There you go.
You have sown much and bring in little. You eat, but you have not enough. You drink, but you're not filled with drink. You clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put into a bag with holes. Right, and that's this whole system, man. Is a bag with holes. As soon as the check comes in, it's going out, man. Right,
sure.
like the comment said, right. She is happy to have $100 transfer over from one check to another, man.
Yes.
Right. So how much more, right, as we see these times accelerate, man.
That's right, man. And we're watching it happen.
Unless you know the nuance between you and the person you're speaking about and why they may or may not be able to do things, it will never make sense. But right now, that doesn't even matter because everybody is facing the same challenge, which is those paychecks may or may not come November 1st. Some people are going to be prepared, and unfortunately, some people will not be prepared. There's a comment here that says, Navy Federal still pays. That's not true. They will not pay you if this does continue on. You have to bank with Navy Federal in order for that to happen, and you must apply for the loan because it's a loan. It's a lot, y'all. People said they over here stressed.
Because you're telling me that we are expecting these people to still wake up early, pack their fucking lunch, commute to work, sit at their desks, and perform their job duties fully and safely, all without getting pay. Oh, and then fun fact, members of Congress and the president still get paid during government shutdowns because their pay is constitutionally protected.
True.
So, hello?
I have heard so many people across social media express the same concerns as this woman here. I just think that the timing of this government shutdown is very bad because it already seemed like people were struggling as far as the grocery prices, not being able to afford cars, homes, things of that sort. And I kind of feel like this was just like the icing on the cake. I feel like for a lot of people, it's a lot back to back, especially with the job losses many people have faced throughout this year. People are panicking. One thing I think could be helpful is reaching out to any loan agencies or any creditors that you owe any money to, just to give them the heads up that, hey, I might be affected because of this government shutdown, and I might not have the funds or the money to pay off my loans, my debt, whatever you owe. Because y'all know whoever you owe money to is still going to want their money. And it's just what it is. But there might be something in place to help you out in the meantime of all of this getting settled. And I'd like to know if you are a government employee or if you are affected by this government shutdown and you are told that you need to come to work, but you won't be able to get paid, how are you feeling about all this? And if you're not, if you were in this situation, would you go to work or would you all of a sudden have the cooties?
So you mean to tell me I done went and survived the fucking rapture for y'all to shut down the government? Not a portion, not a part, the whole thing. Mind you, on top of that, I done already joined this motherfucker. I protect and serve the country every day, and it ain't protecting nor serving me. I don't know what the fuck is going on, and I don't even know what the hell we're arguing about. But one thing I need to agree on is I need my bread, and I need it now. And if we're gonna go and shut this bitch down, I got a couple questions I need answers. If I'm not getting paid, am I supposed to pay rent? Because how the fuck that work? There gotta be some type of loophole to where I'm staying for free. Because how the fuck I'm gonna pay with no money? So you mean to tell me I done been putting my life on the line for the last 4 fucking years from the comfort of my desk, and y'all gonna pull this shit the last 3 months of my contract? I don't know what needs to happen, but give me my money.
You know what really got me was him.
Yeah, that's a valid crash out. You know, again, Isaiah 30:3, as we read earlier, shame and confusion, right? You want to add anything out? And you can watch the rest of that. You know, we just wanted to play that part. You know, it's about 24 minutes. We're not going to play the whole thing, but another, 10 minutes or so. But the point was made, man. You know, the paycheck panic begins. Okay? People thought they had it bad now. Hey, just watch it, wait and watch. You know? So let's go to, you have something out?
Time real quick.
Yep.
Because she said, pretty much how these things were coming back to back for people, man. Right? Now this 2 Ezra 16 and verse starting 37. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child come forth, they slack not a moment. And we're watching these pains get closer and closer together, right?
Right.
It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. Right? So now, you know, people are, you know, the government jobs are being lost. Right? Next thing you know, they're going to be getting thrown into World War III. Right? They're going to be, you know, squabbling out here in the streets for loaves of bread. Right? This is what we're seeing back to back, you know, over and over again. Right? The poly crisis, right, as they coined it. Right? This is what's coming upon America right now.
Man. Woo, it's not a good look. All right, but again, you all were warned by the prophets of Yahweh Shem Shah first. All right, first and foremost. Okay, so again, you can watch the rest of this on your own. All right, the government shutdown just put paychecks in danger. 24-minute video. All right, so let's get into this war on ICE real quick and we'll wrap this up. All right, some of the heavy hitters that's in the news right now. Let's pull this up. I saw this earlier. Right, this is from collapse.news. It says war on ICE intensifies. Cartels, gangs offer millions for attackers to target federal officers. Man, we told you it was going to get wild. All right, so it says here, Department of Homeland Security's Secretary Kristi Noem has disclosed that cartels, gangs, and T groups have placed bounties up to $10,000 for the killing of specific immigration agents. All right. So as they were putting basically bounties on the people, now, hey, they're putting bounties on you. Right. It says threats come amid rising political violence and are linked to previous high-profile incidents involving assassination attempts on political figures. The revelation comes after recent confrontations between immigration officials and protesters in Chicago, including an incident where immigration agents shot a woman involved in an alleged assault. Noam criticized local officials for providing hostile conditions for federal agents, stating they are even denied access to basic amenities like restrooms. The situation underscores growing tensions between federal immigration enforcement and local governments, raising significantly security concerns for those involved. Right? It says an alarming development disclosed by Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Criminal organizations, including cartels, gangs, and T groups, have placed bounties on the heads of specific U.S. immigration agents. Noam revealed this during this interview with Fox and Friends Weekend on October 5th. The bounties ranging from $2,000 for kidnapping to $10,000 for assassination highlight the increasingly dangerous environment faced by federal and law enforcement officers. Now, what's also heavy too, which we have pulled up here, all right, you have local law enforcement that are not backing the ICE agents when it comes to these protests and riots. They're like, look, we're not getting involved. So what is that doing? Causing more division. See, we told you, right? And get that I can Mark 3:25 on down.
Okay.
All right. It's about to get ugly.
That's right. It's the book of Mark, chapter 3, and verse 25. I'll start in 24.
There you go.
And if a kingdom be divided against itself, I'll start in 23. And he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand.
That's right.
And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end.
You got it, bro.
God, so this is what we're seeing, man. The division on all fronts, right? Militarily, you got dissension among the ranks, right? You got the local officers, like you made mention of. You got the dissension with them. Even, right, in regards to the cartel situation, you know, they have different agreements that they have with these federal officials, right, to be able to operate, right? And now, you know, they're probably cutting off their end of the deal, man. Right. So now you're seeing them start to buck up against that system as well, man. Right. So everything is being split apart, man.
That's right. Let's play the video.
We are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out of control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
Chicago's mayor looks to ban ICE agents from city property as ICE agents continue to find themselves under attack from rioters. This after Chicago police were reportedly told not to come to their aid. But Chicago's top cop says that's not true.
Our officers were not told to stand down. Our officers were out there throughout the entire event. I would never tell our officers to stand down, because if our officers were in trouble and we needed help from other officers, I would expect those officers to step in and help us. And it's the same thing that we do on our side. When someone is in trouble, we're going to step in.
Well, let's bring in John Hoyt. He's the National Fraternal Order of Police second vice president. John, thanks so much for joining the program. Now, the superintendent, that may be true from his perspective, but when it comes to the commander of the patrol, this is the audio that we heard. Let's play it.
For the chief of patrol, clear everybody up. We're not responding over there.
And again, per the chief of patrol, we have all the units that per 999. Chief of Patrol said all units clear out from there. We're not sending anybody over to that location.
So, of course, there was pushback because we all know in law enforcement, you hear 1033, 1013, you show up to help cops.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for playing that. It's important that the public knows the reality. You know, I appreciate the superintendent's words. That's what he should be saying. But clearly there's some form of disconnect if his command staff is giving orders not to respond to help our brothers and sisters in federal law enforcement.
There you go. So like we were saying, you got Jake that's up in there, man. They ain't gonna be with that shit. You know, you got Jake, you might even have some Edomites that's like, look, we're not about to be, harassing people, man, rounding people up. We're not gonna help those federal ICE agents, man. So that's dissension right there, man. You see, again, Isaiah 19, Egyptian versus Egyptian. Okay, it's about to hit that come to that head, man. Okay, so this is a big deal, right? So you got governments divided, the local police divided against the agents, different states divided amongst each other, politicians, all that, man. Mayors, governors, right?
And quite frankly, as police, whoever it is that calls us for help, we can't be selective in who we decide to help, whether it's another law enforcement agency or the public. You know, our ethos is helping people. That's what we do as law enforcement. And as someone who's been in a situation where you need to call for help as you're getting surrounded and overrun, you know, I question whoever that commander was that gave that order, how much time they spent on the street as opposed to studying for promotion, because quite frankly, completely unacceptable to ever give that order.
I mean, it's like the cardinal rule in law enforcement. You don't leave another cop stranded. I don't know how this person keeps their job. I mean, part of the job, the most deadliest part of the job is traffic stop, patrolling. So are you hearing the same thing on the ground from your Chicago cops that are part of the national union?
100%. I mean, they released a statement immediately. They were 100% against the order that was given, and they called the command staff out for that. That listen, our officers on the street, Chicago as well, we swear an oath to the Constitution. That's what our oath is to, not to some mayor's political agenda and political policy. You know, again, we are out there to help people, whether it's the community or other law enforcement officers. When we are asked for help, we respond. And, you know, I have a lot of faith in my brothers and sisters in Chicago. And I know that maybe they were given that order, but they're not going to let someone get surrounded and get hurt. And quite frankly, the chances of an officer getting killed in that situation are high. So I know they did the right thing.
Likewise, brother. I want to get your comments on this other story. The Washington Post is reporting that some rank and file DC police have accused supervisors of downplaying, the serious crime to make their precincts seem safer, as critics call on President Trump's use of the National Guard. What do you make of this? Apparently, they were telling them to low grade some of these serious offenses.
Yeah, you know, once again, like in Chicago, it gets very dangerous when you let political agendas influence law enforcement policy and management. Listen, the cop on the street is doing the job the right way. They're writing up the reports accurately. When you let a Democrat agenda affect how people are grading policing and grading what crime classifications are out there, it becomes very dangerous because, one, a department needs to be transparent with its community about the struggles and the successes. And number two, the department's then going to improperly allocate resources of the department depending on those crime statistics. So then when you alter them to fit your agenda, your department's not going to be fulfilling their mission the proper way.
It's such a good point, especially after the defund measures. Of course, crime was going to skyrocket, and then they want to fudge the numbers. It's just all terrible for the people on the ground. Sir, thanks so much for joining the program. Thank you for your service to the country.
I'm Steve. Yeah, this is what we read real quick, going back. All right, the overall prophetic parallel, or Salaki, Isaiah 24:12, again, and the city is left desolation and the gate is smitten with destruction, right? The parallel today, urban decay, rising crime, economic collapse, and spiritual emptiness mark the cities. The quote gate, the symbol of protection and justice, is broken. Lawlessness, corruption, and loss of order prevail. America's moral and civil gates have fallen, leaving desolation within. There you go. What they were talking about with Trump and Pete Hegseth. You know, it's time to attack the enemy from within. All right, and who are they talking about? Right, you tribes. All right, so it's about to go, man. Esau is getting ready to take it there, as we warned y'all, man. All right, so you got this economic crisis, the paycheck panic. All right, you got protesters and clashing with ICE, riots, division amongst local police and the military. All right, it's all types of shit going down, man. You know, you want to add anything else? That's pretty much it, man. You know, if you want to add anything else before we close out.
Just real quick. This is Ezekiel 30 and verse 7 in the NLT. Egypt will be desolate, surrounded by desolate nations, and its cities will be in ruins, surrounded by other ruined cities. And the people of Egypt will know that I am the Lord when I have set Egypt on fire and destroyed all their allies. Right? So this is what we're seeing right now is Egypt is on fire, man. Right? And again, it's going to lead to more and more ruin, more and more violence, right? In the midst of Jacob's trouble, right? This is why it's ever more important to make sure your relationship with the Lord is, rock steady, man. You know, because now we're seeing it's being shown and made manifest that there's no escape outside of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man.
Con. That's it. I got one more. This is Proverbs 1. All right. Proverbs 1 and 27. I read to the end of the chapter. Proverbs 1 and 27. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. All right, because we're entering into that famine of the word, the famine of the word as well. All right, these videos being scrubbed from the internet, man. Okay, verse 29. For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. All right, and that's you tribes, you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latino, Native Americans, and Hispanics, you 2/3. All right, you hated the knowledge of the Lord. You didn't choose the fear of the Lord. Okay, you scoffed, you mocked, right? You cast the Lord's words behind you. Now there's a penalty for that, judgment. They were none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. All right, reproof goes back to correction. Niggas despise all of the Lord's corrections. Right? They didn't consider. Therefore, should they eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. And that's why the Lord gave 2/3 over to their own mind, to their own devices, their own imaginations. All right, niggas are going to do what they want to do. Right? I'm going to do me, you do you, right? That's the mindset of Jake. You can't tell our people nothing. Right? For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. Verse 33, but whoso hearken unto me shall dwell safely. But whoso hearken unto me shall dwell safely and shall be quiet from fear of evil. All right. And that represents the wise, man. All right. That are going to be covered in these extremely dangerous times that have come upon us, man. All right. So, hey, either you get right or get left. Bottom line, man. All right. That's all I have, man. Anything you want to add up?
No, that was it.
That's it, man. So, hey, pray that this news and prophecy, the paycheck panic begins and the war on ice. Pray that this lesson was edifying. We'll close it out by giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught us his truth, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom. Heavy video, I'll have to water for that too.